You are in the Power Zone now with DU. DU's Power Zone.
The Power Zone with DU is dedicated to bringing you insightful communication and resources that will guide you further in making your personal and professional goals a reality. Through candid, stimulating, and essential conversations, we focus on the 9 universal goals of success, which include career, finances, education, family, arts, attitude, health and wellness, leisure, and public service. Based upon these goals, we provide you, the listener, with practical measures of advancement.
Good evening, family, and welcome to the Power Zone with DU. Again, welcome to the Power Zone with DU. I am your host, Darlene A. Anderson, founder of Darlene's Utopia and author of Not Without a Fight, 10 Ways to Win When It Appears as If You've Already Lost, and you have entered the Power Zone. Today is July the 15th. I'm excited about this show as always. My producers are always telling me to find a new word, but there is no other word to utilize to just capture my feeling except excited. I'll give you another E word, elated, extremely overjoyed about being out here with you all on this evening, July 15th of 2015. Now, if you're joining us for the very first time, welcome, 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 welcome. We hope that you enjoy the show so much that you will return each and every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Check out the archives, share it with your friends and network. And if you are returned, well, thank you for returning. You're officially family. You guys can come in, kick up your feet, and enjoy insightful and resourceful communication. On that note, we're going to go out on a small break, and when we return, I'm going to speak to the topic for this evening, a little bit about our very special guest, and invite them on the call to have some fun with us. We'll be back after this break, family.
Homeowners residing in the New York State area, are you in need of assistance with a pending foreclosure? If you answered yes to this question, then DDR Consultants may be the assistance that you seek. DDR Consultants provides a variety of services to assist homeowners residing in the New York State area with mortgage foreclosures and documentation, inclusive of discoveries and interrogatories, as well as oppositions to the bank's motion. DDR Consultants also provide services in property management, inclusive of advertisement, leasing, and maintenance. For more information about foreclosures and property management, contact DDR Consultants at 914-309-5443. Women entrepreneurs, are you looking to advance in your business for the third quarter of 2015? If so, then consider joining the Network for Women in Business as they present their 4th annual Small Business Bootcamp for Women, scheduled to be held on Saturday, July 18th of 2015 at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Elizabeth, New Jersey. This conference will be hosted by Tony Coleman Brown, the founder of the Network for Women in Business, with special guests to include, but not limited to, Greta Douglas, Gail Campbell, Dr. Denise Dennis, Julia D. Shaw, and Stacy N.C. Grant. To learn more about the 4th annual Small Business Bootcamp for Women, log on to www.smallbusinessbootcampforwomen.com. Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you've tried, no matter how often you've tried, you can't win, but always losing? Marriage, relationships, children, family, finances, work. The list goes on and on. You can't seem to ever get it right and are often left with that lingering feeling of doubt, wondering, why should I even attempt any further? If you have experienced these feelings, this book is for you. Not Without a Fight, 10 Ways to Win When It Appears as If You've Already Lost delivers transparency, resilience, strength, and practical measures that will encourage you to stay in the ring and fight for a few more rounds. You will feel rejuvenated and encouraged to continue as you affirm your winning moments are a breath away. As you read this book and reflect on your challenges in life, it is my hope that you will begin to incorporate the principles of winning into your daily regimen. You may feel beaten thus far. However, know from this moment forward, you are a winner. Say it, see it, believe it, be it. Order your copy of Not Without a Fight, 10 Ways to Win When It Appears as If You've Already Lost at darlenesutopia.com.
Welcome back, family. You have re-entered the Power Zone with DU, with your host, Darlene A. Anderson, founder of Darlene's Utopia and author of Not Without a Fight, 10 Ways to Win When It Appears as If You've Already Lost. Now, prior to the break, I spoke a little bit about our archive shows. I just want to reiterate that we want you all to log on to our Blog Talk Radio page. That is /Darlene's Utopia, and check out the archives. We had an awesome show last week in which Noni Redpath was on, and her company is Noni Knows Things. She was speaking to being a life manager and assisting entrepreneurs and small business owners with administrative tasks, social tasks, everything that we as business owners don't want to do but definitely need to be done. Please check out that show and give Noni a call because Noni knows things. In addition to that, we had Tori Boyd, we had Will Townsend, just an amazing summer thus far, and we want you all to be caught up with all of the archives and again, share it with your friends and networks. Moving forward on the agenda, I thought about what I wanted this show to be like last week. You guys know I'm always mentally in motion, just thinking. I'm into December already. One of the things that this summer I was really serious about spotlighting business, not just business, but great business structure. And business structure begins far before things are on paper. So I wanted to just introduce different things. We had Noni on the call speaking to administrative services. We've had other calls speaking to what it is to be a professional as far as etiquette. And tonight I want to speak to business structure from the inner person out, if that makes sense. And I hope it does. By the end of this call, you will know exactly what I'm speaking to. It is an honor to have our guest on the show for this evening. He is a friend of Darlene's Utopia. He is a brother. He is a colleague. He is a dynamic man of God and an extremely brilliant professional. So I'm excited again to have him on the call, and I'm going to share a little bit about why I chose him and then share his bio with you if you all don't mind. So over the past week, I attended a seminar, actually it was a workshop through CRE, and that's Community Resource Exchange for some of us here in the New York area. It's an incredibly amazing organization that provides tools and resources to nonprofit organizations. And myself, as well as a couple of other colleagues, actually partake in a communications training. It was a group-oriented seminar, but what stood out for me was the tools and resources that they provided thereafter the training. And I got this book titled From Vision to Reality, A Guide to Launching a Successful Nonprofit Organization. This book has everything from A to Z as it relates to establishing, as it states, a successful nonprofit organization. And family at home, if you're on your devices right now, log on to the website. It's a great resource to have, especially if you are considering a nonprofit or you have an active nonprofit presently. And again, that's CRE, Community Resource Exchange. And their website is www.crenyc.org. From vision to reality. And it's free. You guys know I'm always talking about free things on the show. It doesn't get any better than free. The reason why I decided to share this with you all because of the topic itself. From vision to reality. It starts with your vision. But there's a process in our vision that sometimes we don't handle the right way, so to speak. And the vision could either be lost or the vision can be executed. And we all know if we're not even just a nonprofit, but just as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, your vision is what guides you. It's what forces you. But again, sometimes it can be that same thing that will keep you complacent and keep you stuck in a period where you will never launch what you thought could be possible. So the call tonight is about taking vision to the next level. Take your vision to the next level, whether you're considering starting or you're starting. We're going to talk about your vision and how to execute it. So it brings me great pleasure to speak to a gentleman, as I said, that is a dear friend, amazing colleague, extraordinary business person that's going to really speak to vision and executing tonight. Dr. Oliver T. Reid is in the building, family. Let's read a little bit about Dr. Reid. Dr. Oliver T. Reid has used God's blessings and favor upon his life in the marketplace. As founder of ECKLESIA Professional Development Center in 2001 and founder of M.I.N.D, Marketing, Implementing, Networking, and Dialoguing Consulting in 2007. Dr. Reid provides consulting and coaching services through his companies. He is also a seasoned trainer, ministry life coach, motivational speaker, best-selling author, and solution strategist. Dr. T. Reid is the founder of Oneness Through Redemption Ministry International. His first book, Don't Press Fast Forward, was released in 2010, international bestseller Spiritual GPS in 2013, and Words from the Low Place in 2014. Dr. Reid has recently launched a variety of other books. Your Ministry is Not Complete, 9 Keys to Keeping a Vision Fresh, and his widely anticipated course ministry, Not Impossible, will be published in the near future. Using his God-given passion to help others uncover their solutions within, Dr. Reid has also developed a series of empowerment workshops and conferences. Dr. Oliver T. Reid, known as the Solution Coach, launched the I Am a Solution campaign in 2013, aimed at empowering men and women to change the world. Ladies and gentlemen of the Power Zone with DU, it is my pleasure to introduce to you on the call this evening as a return guest and family member of Darlene's Utopia, Dr. Oliver T. Reid. Dr. Reid, welcome to the call.
Hey, how are you doing?
I am fine, thank you. I'm excited to have you out here as a return guest. You know, it's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. It's always an honor. I love hanging out with you.
Yes. And I have to tell the family, if you've been following us, you know, Dr. Reid, I always start it. If you've been following us, then you know that Dr. Reid co-hosts The Making of Moguls in October of 2014 and April of 2015. And it was just outstanding, to say the least. I always have a good time. There are quite a few people on the planet that I can co-host with that have similar energy that we can just, without even speaking, make things happen. You are definitely one of them.
Awesome. Likewise. I mean, it was just a phenomenal event.
Good. And listeners, if you have not checked out the pictures from the Making of Moguls, you can log on to our fan page, that's Darlene's Utopia. There you will find the photo album of the Making of Moguls on Facebook, or you can just log into our website and click in there from there and check out all of the pics. And we have a trailer coming soon with that, and also we're preparing for the Making of Moguls before the final quarter of this year. So be on the lookout for that. So Dr. Reid, let's chat about what's been happening recently. I'm excited. I'm getting ready to come out in September to VA to partake in your conference. Let's tell the family about that.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you, sis, come out. It's going to be an awesome event. It's going to be called Engage. Leaders, loving leaders, and looking at leaders from behind enemy lines. So this whole summit or retreat is aimed at leaders in the marketplace, leaders in business, ministry, wherever you find yourself leading. So we're going to have a fireside chat behind the scenes to deal with issues and become stronger and better. So I'm so excited about that, and I'm so excited and honored that you are going to be one of our keynote speakers at this event.
It's my pleasure. I'm like jumping out of my seat already. I have a VA in my head. This is where I'm at. The summer's over for me. I'm in full, getting ready to come out there and just have an awesome time. And I love the fact that you structure conferences for leaders. I had Transparent Tori on the call a couple of weeks ago, and we were speaking to leaders need leadership also. Leaders need guidance. Leaders need a place where they can be able to just come and speak to some of the things that they're going through for their own development. So it's great to have these type of conferences. And leaders listen in on the Power Zone. So leaders, you can log on to Oliver T. Reid's website from our Blog Talk Radio page and just see what's going on and follow him in preparation for this, because, again, leaders need leadership. So this is going to be September the 19th, Dr. Reid?
18th and 19th. 2-day summit.
And can we just get some demographics? Where exactly will it be?
Yes. You actually can also go onto our Eventbrite page, but it's going to be in Oakton, Virginia. At a retreat center at a church called Whole Word Fellowship. That's Whole Word Fellowship. And if you follow the blog, you'll see the link, and you can go right to the page and register and be a part of this.
Beautiful. I was looking at some of your photos, and I said, I always affectionately call you Mason Better. Is that his last name? Because they'd be like, Darlene, that is not how you say that name. I said, I just know Mason. But now he got the last name because he's preaching now. So you got to say, Pastor Mason Better. Then I saw him on BET last week, but not to say that you're the hip-hop pastor, but your energy, you're youthful, you can speak to the masses. I've seen you in arenas where you're speaking to the youth, but you can also speak to the older population. You can speak to the elders. I love the fact that you lean on elders for guidance. You're able to just transcend into various populations and generations. And that's a great thing, because a lot of people don't have that skill, that ability to do that. How is that for you?
Wow, thank you. It's an honor because it's one of those things where I've learned how to really pay attention to the audience and become all things to the audience by understanding what the context is. I always tell people, if you don't know the context or the purpose or the mission or why you've been invited to be present, to speak, or to share, it really doesn't do justice. So I learned a lot about being able to address, research, and be able to fill in and let sometimes the audience lead you into the next move, to the next thing.
Beautifully said, and that is exactly who you are and what you do. Family listening in, Dr. Reid was I call them the closer, the closer at the making of Moguls 2. And it's interesting because in preparation of it, when you're hosting, but you're also a speaker, as I was for my event, and Dr. Reid, from that event, I said that I will never host my own event again, and my team actually said I can't host anymore. Either you're going to speak or you're going to host, but you can't do both. And I said, you know what,
right.
well, I want to speak, so we're going to have to find a new host. And to the grace of God, I actually found a great host with similar energy that will go on ahead and spearhead most of the events as a host for those events. But you'll hear a lot of people say that if you're going to speak at your own event, then you should be the closer. You should be the closer. And I purposely said that I was not going to close. I would open, and I wanted you to close the making of Moguls 2 because the message was so strong. I wanted people to leave with that. It doesn't matter when the message is delivered as long as the message is delivered. And the order that we went in for the making of Moguls 2, it was phenomenal. Everyone stuck out. But you as the closer, you tore the roof down. It was an awesome event, and there were primarily the vast majority of the people that attended were business owners. It wasn't any aspiring business owners. It wasn't people that were just coming because they were stagnant in their business. It was business owners, entrepreneurs, and small business owners with successful businesses doing the same things that were moved in that conference space. So thank you. You are definitely the closer.
Oh, man, I'm honored to be among greatness. It was really, what I love about your event, and every time you put something together, is the chemistry. I mean, you bring people together, and it's just like everybody's synonymous, everybody's on fire. It's just so much information that we get each time we come.
Thank you. We're actually working on some testimonies, some stories about what's gone on thereafter, because there's greatness. There's greatness, and I say it humbly, but I couldn't call the other day a business owner and said, I came out to the event and I connected with you, and there was a professional, a psychotherapist in the building, and I wanted to speak to somebody to get assistance with my family, some counseling. I would say everybody needs counseling. Everybody. Professionals, teachers, doctors, psychiatrists need to see psychiatrists. So she said, I reached out to him, and he's awesome, and I've been referring him to other people thereafter. And those type of stories are the untold stories. Sometimes they don't get publicized, and people don't know what's going on. But it's beyond giving tidbits. Like, we're changing lives personally and professionally. So, and I'm glad that you're a part of it.
I'm so honored to be a part of it. I'm excited about the fourth quarter. I am. Yes,
sir. We're there already. Speaking of which, so I know you were listening in when I introduced you, speaking to from vision to reality. I thought about you as I sat in the space just the other day for this conference, and I said, I got to have him in the building to speak to this, because I know you do a lot of work with nonprofits, people preparing nonprofits. If they have one established already, you help with marketing. You do a number of things through your company. So I want to speak to some of those things this evening, as well as your thoughts on the vision, bringing it into reality.
Yes. Oh, man, that is such a great question and a great perspective to kind of look at, because I think you can do anything without bringing yourself to it. You bring yourself everywhere. And what I tell people is that, when you are dealing with nonprofits or businesses or whatever it may be, that behind and beyond the marketing and the highlights and the projectors of the filters that we put out on social media, radio, airways, whatever it may be, people must still feel your heart. And I think if your heart is not in it, it begins to be a routine, another job, another project. And I think we got so many things going on in life. You don't need another project. You don't need another job. You don't need another business venture. You want to hit your target and make it stick. And so that is why I said you got to be able to put your hands in it, your feelings in it, your emotions in it. It has to mean something to you. And what I always tell people, that you have to look in that mirror and command a gut check about whatever you're doing. Look in the mirror. Is this something that I'm doing because I see somebody else doing it? It sounds good. It will make me money, or is it something that's really driving me and pushing me on the cutting edge?
And that's a get check? You said a get check?
It's a get check, a gut check.
Oh, a gut check.
Yeah. It's a gut check. You are really being able to say, is this really coming from my gut? Is it coming from the center of my core, or is it just good? If it's something coming from my eye gate, because, our eye gate can be so tricky because we saw somebody else do it. Visually we saw it. It looks easy. But your gut is when you wake up in the middle of the night. It's almost like a pregnant woman in her last trimester. She's very uncomfortable. She can't sleep. She knows that what's inside of her is coming out. Same thing for the business owner. When you really are operating from that core or that synergy from within, and that passion and that dream is in the inside of you kicking and screaming, it makes you uncomfortable, and it'll make you stretch. It'll make you go after it. It'll bring that passion and intensity to whatever you bring.
Definitely. And I love that when you spoke about the vision, because sometimes we do see others doing things and we feel as if that should be for us also. But it's interesting because, one, we never know what someone goes through to get to where they're at. Mm-hmm. And we don't necessarily, we say we want that title, but when you say you want to be like someone, you want that in its entirety. And sometimes that's not for us. So that's very interesting that you spoke about that, because you can only be you and do you the way you can. That's why there are so many different people doing the same thing, yet there are different characteristics that make them unique and why we're drawn to them as individuals. So I like that you spoke to that, definitely.
Yes, it is so important, because your vision, and I've said this I think before on a call that we've had, is it's important that you drive, you steer your vision, and it's not something that's a byproduct of what other people envision for you. Let me say it again. It's good and it's so important as an entrepreneur, as a business expert, that you drive or steer your vision. And it's not a byproduct. Like, for example, your business shouldn't be a byproduct of what somebody's told you.
Yes.
It should be something that you have a vision for. Because if you're not careful, what people envision for your life, Darlene, will become your vision, and it will allow you, if you're not careful, to be miserable.
Yes.
You'll be miserable trying to fulfill somebody else's vision or what they envision for you, and then you have double vision, and then you have division in your purpose and your destiny.
Correct, 100% correct. And it's funny because as a parent, I instilled that in my daughter from a very young age. And now when she's 18, about to be 19, I'll tell her something and she'll say very respectfully but very adamantly, Mom, that's not what I want to do. That's what you want to do.
Right.
Like, this is what I'm going to do, and I would like for you to just respect what I'm doing or allow me to do it. And I'm sitting there like, wow, did she just check me? But then the other part of me is like, yes, she did check me because I taught her that. So it's a great thing. But as parents, we want our kids to do what we want them to do. But it's a great thing when they have their own character and their own mind. It is important because you want to live in a whole life based on what someone else, and sometimes children, parents will do this to children, and they'll be 30 or 40 years old and realize that they've lived their mother or father's dream. They've done what someone else has told them to do. Or as business owners, you'll start a business because you got consultation from someone from the beginning, and it's not really what you want to do, but like you said, that you were told to do it, and 5-10 years later, you're like, I don't even want to be in this business, or it's being ran the wrong way.
Yes, and you don't want to be in a situation where you are adopting somebody else's brainchild.
Yes.
You're babysitting somebody else's brainchild. You're actually, rearing something that's not yours. And I think that's one of the challenges that I say to international entrepreneurs, national entrepreneurs, is be yourself and make sure that vision begins to speak through your actions and drives that passion in your life, and so that you can be able to be centered. So I think it's going back to what I just said earlier, what you're highlighting on, that gut check, to be able to say, man, is this in my gut? Is it in my intuition? Is it a part of my life? I wake up in the morning and I can feel it. I know that it's there, and I have a job to fulfill.
Exactly. Time flies. We're going to go out, Dr. Reid, on a break. And when we come back, I want to speak to the man. I want to speak to the author. I want to speak to the coach. Just really get into who Dr. Reid is outside of the business, if we can, for a second. And then we'll wrap it back up into the business. But you have such a unique story. I just want the callers to the listeners, so to speak, to just know a little bit about who you are and your origin, if that's okay.
Sure.
Cool. So we're going to go out on a little break, family, and this is Dr. Oliver T. Reid's song. His song is Anthem by Todd Delaney. And Dr. Reid, I just want to know why this song motivates you.
Oh, it motivates me because it's a chant. It's a chant that God sings over us, and I like it because we have the victory. The song talks about having the victory, and because of that, we are alive.
Amen. Thank you for sharing that. So, family, this is my first time hearing it. I don't know if you're familiar with the song, but I'm excited about it. We're going to go out on a break, speak a little bit to our sponsors, and then we'll be right back. So, again, Anthem by Todd.
Homeowners residing in the New York State area, are you in need of assistance with a pending foreclosure? If you answered yes to this question, then DDR Consultants may be the assistance that you seek. DDR Consultants provides a variety of services to assist homeowners residing in the New York State area with mortgage foreclosures and documentation, inclusive of discoveries and interrogatories, as well as oppositions to the bank's motion. DDR Consultants also provides services in property management, inclusive of advertisement, leasing, and maintenance. For more information about foreclosures and property management, contact DDR Consultants at 914-309-5443. Women entrepreneurs, are you looking to advance in your business for the third quarter of 2015? If so, then consider joining the Network for Women in Business as they present their 4th annual Small Business Bootcamp for Women, scheduled to be held on Saturday, July 18th of 2015 at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Elizabeth, New Jersey. This conference will be hosted by Tony Coleman Brown, the founder of the Network for Women in Business, with special guests to include, but not limited to, Greta Douglas, Gail Campbell, Dr. Denise Dennis, Julia D. Shaw, and Stacy N.C. Grant. To learn more about the 4th annual Small Business Bootcamp for Women, log on to www.smallbusinessbootcampforwomen.com. Power Zone family, have you heard the news about Utopia Network Inc.? Utopia Network Inc. is a New York-based 501c3 nonprofit organization. Their mission is to connect individuals and families with services that will promote stability and a better quality of life. They are committed to ensuring that the underserved communities have an understanding of the tremendous opportunities of productivity in their adversities and move to actions of advancement. To learn more about Utopia Network Inc., visit them at their Facebook fan page, Utopia Network Inc.
Welcome back, family. You have re-entered the Power Zone with DU. I am your host, Darlene A. Anderson, founder of Darlene's Utopia and author of Not Without a Fight, 10 Ways to Win When It Appears as If You've Already Lost. And I'm here with Dr. Oliver T. Reid, personal and professional development coach, ministry life coach, motivational speaker, best-selling author, and solution strategist. The list goes on. And we have him back as a return guest to the Power Zone with DU. Dr. Reid, are you with us?
I am here. I'm excited. I'm pumped. And I love that word, excited. I try to get away from it, but I'm like you.
You know, every week, they're like, look, you have another word. I'm like, look, I'm going to use excited until every letter drops off of the word, and then I'll pick them back up and use them again. Because it's what it is. I'm excited. I'm motivating. The Power Zone, I get on the show. This is my downtime. This is my opportunity to just be me, let loose, and share and receive, because I learn a lot on the Power Zone week after week. So, yeah, excited, brother. We're excited.
Yes.
I want to speak a little bit to, and I have to shout out Minister Kim Underwood.
Yes.
And Kim Sutter. Those are my sisters, my colleagues, my dear friends. I know you were on. Yes, they're phenomenal. You were on a show maybe last summer, I believe, maybe, or in the fall, and you shared a story that many people cried, that many people didn't know your story. And I just want to share a little bit, if you will, who you are and your origin.
Yeah, I am a father, a young man in the sense of still growing, still developing. My life has, I like to use Langston Hughes' poem, my life hasn't been no crystal stair.
Yes.
It's had some blemishes in it. It's had some cracks in it. I grew up pretty much raised by my mother in a situation where she was married. Make a long story short, I was abused by my stepfather. My father rejected me from an early age and was never in my life. I remember him promising at the age of 4 or 5. I can remember waiting by the window. Some of you may share this story, waiting for him to come. He never came. When he did come, several years later, 7 years later, I think I was about 12 years old, my dad introduced me to alcohol. The first thing he gave me was a wine cooler at 12 years old.
Wow.
And, my first weekend with him, we kind of got off on the wrong foot that way. And make a long story short, we broke away. He wasn't in my life at all. He would just come for special moments, pivotal moments. He would come and he would be there, but he was never in my life. So I longed for that of a father. So I grew up and had my own children. I married, had my own children, and it was still that void. You know how sometimes you can feel like, hey, I made it through this. I'm over it. I was Christian. I was preaching. I was teaching. I was developing, all those different things. But I still had a void, Darlene, for my father.
Yes.
And I remember him calling my mother and saying, pretty much, I want Tyrone is my middle name. Y'all don't use that. That's my government middle name. I
can't even call you Oliver, so you don't have to worry about that. He's always yelling at me, family. Darling, call me Oliver. I'm like, I am not Dr. Reid. I cannot. Yes.
So from there, he wanted to reunite in my life, and I was like, no. I was upset. It brought up a whole bunch of memories that I thought were gone and done with, and were just out of the way. And I remember my wife telling me, that's your father, you need to speak with him. And I began to get angry, saying, you're taking his side, you don't know what I've been through. Long story short is I ended up calling him and forgiving him of all the things he had done. And I think it was one of those things where I always tell people, this is a quote, and if you stand by this quote, this principle, it will change your life. If you place honor on any individual that has placed dishonor on you, you break the cycle of that dishonor. Let me say that one more time.
That is amazing.
Anytime you place honor on someone, any person who has done you wrong, dejected you, whatever it may be, deflated your dream, whatever it may be, you break the cycle of control that particular individual has over your life. And I begin to do that. We talk, we reconcile. And I'm so glad I did that, Darlene, because about a year later, my dad was a severe alcoholic. So anytime he got money, it was like he instantly began to drink. That was his first priority. And I remember 2010 waking up to a call where my dad was murdered. And I didn't get to say goodbye. He was murdered by teenagers. And at the time, I was working in the human service field, working with violent reentry people coming out of incarceration, individuals. And it was really a dilemma I was in. Can you imagine working with those people at the same time somebody murdered my father?
Yeah.
Just when things were getting good. And that's somebody who's listening, who's driving their car. You may be at your computer, and you might be saying, man, why do these bad things happen just when things are good? And I couldn't understand it for a while, but then I had the peace of knowing that I had reconciled. So I'm talking to that man out there who has that boy inside of them, that woman out there who has that girl inside of them. If you haven't forgiven your mother or father or whoever it was, I want you to forgive them, because I was so glad, Darlene, that I had forgiven my father. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if I would have still been holding a grudge and he was instantly taken from me just like that?
Thank you for sharing that. That is, it's deep, and I can definitely relate to that to a degree. And I'm sure some of our listeners can, and they're tuned in and they're saying, "Wow, I needed to receive this message today." This is, and I actually had this in my notes to really speak to this, but it just kind of flowed into it. You call this a bridge of reconciliation, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Very deep. And a lot of times, even for myself, and I speak to this in my books, communication, letting go, forgiveness, it's hard, but it's about you. I work with a lot of youth, as I'm sure you do as well, Dr. Reid, and you will find that youth will say, I don't want to forgive because it makes me look like a punk, or that, I'm wrong and they're right. When at the end of the day, it's really not about who's right or wrong. That's just in the moment. Being right or wrong is in the past. You are in another place in life in that moment of whenever you can look back at it, it's gone. But if you continue to live in that, it's the worst thing in the world, and not, I lost my dad not to the same circumstances, but just not having a moment to just say what's in your heart and getting that call. It's the worst feeling in the world. It's the worst feeling in the world. So if you have things, and this is just not being able to say, I love you one last time, but having anger on your heart and losing someone, it's the worst thing to live with, the worst thing. So I thank you for sharing that. And as it relates to being a business person, we think, and we spoke about this at Mogul, sometimes we mask these feelings that we go through, and we think that other people can't see it. They can. They can definitely see through it, and it does affect your business one way or the next when you're not dealing with these feelings. So if you are keeping residue inside, it's time to definitely release it. And Dr. Reid has awesome tools to help you do so. This was amazing. Thank you for sharing, Dr. Reid. I want to also speak about the Twilight Zone, because I saw that piece a couple of times, and I enjoyed that just the same. I've never been a Twilight Zone type of kid. I was always scared of things like that. I didn't watch horror movies. I felt like there's too much going on in life. So I'm a comedy, I'm a corny romance person. I like documentaries, but I try to stay away from the horror. And even though I know some people are like, the Twilight Zone, that is not horror. It's just too much for me. But I like the fact that you have the compare and contrast of it. So can you share with our listeners a little bit about your theory of the Twilight Zone?
Yeah, the Twilight Zone, I always tell people, it's the time where it's really spooky. You know, you read that they have books and they also had television series, and there was different things about it. Nowadays they have the Twilight Saga and all those different things. But when I looked and did some research, I'm a person that really loves to play on words and really research. And when I looked at the twilight, that word twilight means the darkest time of the night. And I'm like, wow, but it's really morning. And so what I do to encourage people and individuals in my coaching, teaching, and preaching, and just impartation, motivating, is that sometimes it's the darkest place in your business, darkest place in your career, darkest place in your whole process. And you're thinking, man, it's so dark, but it's really morning. That's the period of uncertainty, the spookiest times where you're next to the next level of elevation, but it seems to be so far away at the same time. Like me, you have a business plan, but you ain't got no money. Or you got office
space. Can we
space.
talk about it?
You got office space, but you ain't got a client.
Not at all. Not a single one. You're talking to your cube mate. Yeah, reciprocity. I feel you. Yeah.
You got a business card, you don't have a card holder, you know, all that. You know, it's that time, but you know you have a vision, you've seen it, you have an inspiration or intuition, or you have a thing inside of you that baby's kicking and you know is there, right? But everybody around you doesn't quite get with you. So it's really to those people who are on the cutting edge, those world shakers, those leadership strategists that are willing to stand on the cliff, swallow their spit, and jump. So that's one of those things, and it goes back to a passage, just putting it in perspective, that it shares in the Bible a principle of these four leopards. These four leopards. So I deal with that because, you know, leopards are people who got spots on them. You know, that's kind of like that business owner. You're on time for the business meeting, but you got a stain on your shirt. You just don't fit in. You know,
yes.
They want you to be quiet, but you got all these ideas. And, you know, you got all these things that you can change stuff. The world shakers. So it's a message, if you can ever follow the series. And it's going to be turned into a book here soon, but it really deals with those times when you have to get up in the middle of the night, and you could be like me sometimes saying, what am I writing for? Yes. Nobody's buying it. You know, what am I going to work for? What am I on my computer with bags under my eyes trying to get this business strategy together? Nobody's even biting on it. That is the place where your morning is. The biggest breakthrough is right over your head. So I just want to encourage that person listening right there. Don't throw your dreams away. Don't give your strategy away. Don't bail out. Don't push the eject button. Again, I say don't push that eject button. Don't jump out. There's great things ahead.
Dr. Reid, that is a mighty word. I feel like I'm in church right now on Sunday morning, but for business. For church for business. I sat in church on Sunday mornings, and honestly, I've developed the best business ideas in church. Mm-hmm. Just listening and getting a new word and just opening up my mind to the possibilities. So I'm listening to you. Like I said, the Power Zone is good for me just as well as the listeners. I hope you guys are receiving this because, you know, it's true. That is your morning, those periods. And I've been there. I'm up 3 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning on the computer like, why? And then 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, whatever I've done prior is what will come into fruition. I'll get a call, somebody will see something, an opportunity will present itself based on what I planted. So what you're speaking is 100% true.
Well, yes, it is. And it's one of those things where I want to say this real quickly to somebody who's listening. You don't have to choose. I like what you said, Darlene. You would get the best business strategies in church. And some people like to separate it. Well, I'm in church, I can't do business. You know, don't get labeled like that. You know, sometimes you get labeled, I'm a Christian, I can't go after, the multi-million-dollar contract. I can't do those things that are not in the four walls of the church. I was speaking to you and saying that there's room for you to be able to do both. God has blessed you. He's giving you witty inventions. He put something inside of you that is so great you don't have to compromise.
Amen. Amen. Dr. Reid, I would like for our listeners to know where to find you. If you're tuned into your devices, we have Dr. Oliver T. Reid's link on our website so you can tune into I Am a Solution, the Branding Gospel, OTR Ministries International from our page, as well as some of Dr. Reid's social media links as well. Dr. Reid, I just want to speak a little bit to I Am a Solution, and I want to say before you share with our listeners, if you go to his page, everything, all of his brand, I love his marketing strategy. Here you will find the Solution Brand Store, OTR, Amazon page, OTR Brand Store, and online giving. This is an amazing website. It's a hub for everything that we've been speaking to on the call and all of his services. So on that note, please share a little bit about the origin and the purpose of your business.
Yeah, the purpose of my business and ministry is one of the things it's really one of the things that I like to take personal. We specialize in bringing solutions. It is really from the color to the typology to the typology. It's really one of those things where we keep everything fully branded. And I will put that out again to everybody who's listening, fully branded. You want to be fully branded to wherever people see you, wherever they see you, that they would think and see the consistency of your brand. So our brand is always about solutions. It's equations. You'll see equations, and on the other side of that, it says I am a solution, which means that I am, which means God has made you a solution. He's given you a gift, and so you are able to solve things. So wherever we are, whatever we do, whether it's writing, whether it's workshops, whether it's webinars, whether it's conferences, whether it's events of any sort, we want to bring a solution to the community and to the world.
Definitely, and it's awesome. It's taking your vision, all of the pieces, putting it together. Dr. Reid's company actually assisted with some of the social media for the making of moguls, that they sponsored a lot of those trailers that you all saw on YouTube. You can log into it, and it just took me stating, this is what I want, this is what's in my head, and I love the way your team was able to put it together. It just spoke to everything I wanted the making of the moguls to be. So it's an awesome job, and I hope that can also show an example of the quality of your work, because you work with a lot of individuals and organizations. How is that?
Yes, it's really, it goes back to really, I'm a great student, Darlene. One of the things I always say is that there are times where the teacher has to go to school.
Yeah.
And I've learned that I can't do all things. I have to surround myself with people that are great. I work with a graphic artist that's international, people that are local. And one of the things that I do is I get a chance to learn from them. And then I'm great with putting people together. For example, if I have a deficiency in one area, then I find somebody else that can balance me out and do greater in that area. And it doesn't intimidate me. So I'm able to do that because I serve.
Yes.
I serve them. And I actually, if they need me, I'm there. I advise them and I learn from them. So it's a two-way street. I never enter any relationship, this is another point, without putting a demand to serve and also to be served.
To serve and also to be served. Exactly.
Give everybody, I don't care if it's a child, even I deal with children, Darlene, I will ask them some questions to get some answers from them. I will learn from them, as well as saying, okay, how can I serve you? And it builds relationships.
Exactly. We have to learn a lot from our youth and allow our youth to be expressive, because they are our tomorrow. So thank you for sharing that, because there are some people that feel as if you have to listen to what I say, do as I say, And we can't be like that. We have to allow our youth to be expressive so we can know exactly what they need and how we can help them and learn from them. So thank you for sharing that. Dr. Reid, you know, we can go on and on, but I definitely want to be respectful of your time. We've had you on the call for long enough. I want to thank you for taking the time out to be on the show as a returning guest. It's always a pleasure to have you out here.
Oh, it's always an honor. I love the show. I'm right at home.
Yes,
anytime
that's
you want
exactly how we want you to be. And how's the wife and the family? She's lovely, amazing spirit. How's she doing?
She's doing good. She is doing great. You know, she is doing great. Such a great support and such a great help and assistant. The family, it holds the family together, and really brings me back to perspective a lot of times. So it's good to have. I always say she's like a sparring partner with me.
Yeah, she is.
To bring out the best, and I like her because I love her because she's not amazed by my gifting. She loves who I am.
She does, and you can see that she admires you. You can see the admiration for you in her eyes. You guys are an amazing team together. You can see the same admiration in your eyes. I always joke and say, I know you came one time with your wife and the other time with your son, and the both of them, it's like, when you have these businesses and callers, listeners, I know you can relate to it. You bring your family out with you, and everyone, at the moment, that's your team. So it's like, all right, let's go. Table, set up, posters, do this, book style. And everyone, I saw your wife help you with your display in like 0.2 seconds. I could not believe. She said, you go ahead, you meet and greet, I got this. And she set it up, and then she got in her Michelle Obama stance, and she's there like, okay, this is the first lady, and then this is the president. And it was an amazing thing. And she worked the room with you and on your behalf, the same as your son. It was awesome to see him at the podium, just really standing in your family legacy, because that's what it is. It was an awesome time. Both times. I enjoy your family. Please give them my regards.
Definitely. And one of the things I want to say is thank you as well. You've always been an inspiration, and you continue to serve, and you continue to bring great people together. So we appreciate you.
Thank you so very much for that. I received that. Amen. Amen. Listeners, I want you guys to please log on to IamASolution.com. You can go on straight to the website, or again, log on from our blog radio talk page. Check out Dr. Oliver T. Reid, his business, all of his products and services. Let us know what you think. I want you to leave your comments on this page for this show on our Blog Talk Radio, or email us at info@darlenesutopia.com, and we will share your comments or any questions that you may have for Dr. Reid. If you're not in his page already, we'll forward that information to him. Dr. Reid, I also want to leave our callers what you have coming up. We're in July now. You're doing this for July and August, the Solutions in 60 Minutes.
Yes, I definitely want to say before that, I need all your help that's listening out there. I have a new fan page. I'm consolidating a lot of things, and I'm going to be dropping some solutions and some nuggets inside of this new page. It's called Your Solution Coach. And it's called Your Solution Coach. And I'm going to, you'll see it out there. It's a new page. It's Your Solution Coach. It is basically my new page where I'm centralizing a place where you can get tips, advice, everything. So you'll be seeing a lot of things that's dropping in this page. So we're doing a lot. The Solutions in 60 Minutes is coming out. It's starting in July. I need everyone to be a part of this webinar series. We're going to be talking about minding your business. That's marketing, implementing, networking, and dialoguing your business. And you don't want to miss July, because we're going to start with M. We're going to start with marketing. So you can follow me, and the links will be in those pages. Oliver Reid, Your Solution Coach. I Am a Solution Brand. We're fully branded. Wherever you find us, we'll be there to serve you.
I'm ready, and I'm excited. I love that you're starting with M for marketing, because I look at your marketing, and I definitely want to be where you're at. Listeners, I hope you'll be joining us as well. So that's Your Solution Coach. So we're looking forward to that on Facebook, Dr. Reid?
Yes, that's going to be in Facebook. In Facebook, You'll see links on my pages, but if you put in Your Solution Coach, you will get it. It'll come up.
Beautiful, beautiful. Again, Dr. Reid, it's been a pleasure. I know I will be seeing you in September for your event. Good. I'm looking forward to it, family. You can catch Dr. Reid out here in social media land. And again, forward him any of your questions or send them to the Power Zone and we'll forward them to him on your behalf. Until next time, be well. Remember to tell your family and friends to log on to the Power Zone with DU, where we're bringing you insightful and resourceful communication every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Be well, family.